everybody, Jacqueline here. Today's video I wanted to talk about my favorite gouache brushes. Now I haven't tried a ton of different brushes, but once I found the ones that I'm going to show you, they're perfect. They're like not too cheap, not too expensive. I really like them. I like to keep them here. I thrifted this little cutie, what is it called, like a caddy? And I like to put all my brushes in there. These are the 5 that I use the most for my little itty bitty paintings. I paint pretty small. I'm slowly working back up to painting big, but for now I like to stick really small. All of these except this one are the Princeton Velvetouch. So I have 4 of those. This is the Rachael Precision angle brush, and I really like this one too. Let's get a closer look at these guys. So I do a lot of angled brushes. Let's show you these 3. As I said before, there's the Princeton Velvetouch and the Rachael Precision. I don't use a lot of flat brushes or round brushes. I really have enjoyed using these angled brushes. Mostly because like with this larger one, I can get a good wash down or, a good layer down. And then sometimes I kind of get into the flow and I'll just turn it and start using the tip of it to do little tiny bits for like the tiny details. But I do also have actual tiny bristles and brushes for that. Just again, sometimes you just get in the flow and you just go with it. Same Princeton Velvetouch, but I have 2 spotters. I have a 5/0 and a 20/0, which is very tiny. I'm kind of hard on my brushes when I go to clean them. I'll kind of hit the bottom of my little glass water jar. So I'm trying to be better at not being so rough with them. So like, not so much this one, but my 5/01 kind of has this little, let's see if I can show it. See that tiny little hook happening right there? That comes from me being a little too hard on these itty bitty brushes. You need to be a little bit more delicate and careful with these guys. So I have this one as well. I like that it has the thicker handle. Yeah, thicker handle here so that it's easier to grab. I also have, which I don't use as often, but I have this tight spot one that has like this nice angle happening here. Now the bristles are not near as tiny as either one of these. So I sometimes use it, sometimes it's still, the paint will get like too much on there, but it is nice sometimes to get little tiny bits. I use this mostly when I'm trying to like add dots for flowers so that I can kind of see the overall composition that I'm painting. I did also want to show, so these Rachael ones, probably my favorite one of all of them. I've gone through many. So this is the first one I had. As you can see, I was very hard on the bristles and now they're all splayed out. Still works. I like using it to add some texture to them. This is my current one. I'm doing much better at not having it fray. And this is a backup one, which as you can see, it's a little bit more pristine because it's brand new. But yeah, really like these brushes a lot. I do always keep my old brushes. And again, the bristles will kind of start splaying out and fraying a bit more. This one right now has a little hook to it. Should probably get another one of these, but I just haven't yet. I like to keep them on hand because sometimes you just want to have like, like the nice soft touch of all the bristles already being out. So yeah, those are my favorite brushes. I thought I'd do a quick little demonstration that I have here on my desk just to kind of show you what they can do, how I use them. So let me show you first. My paintings are so tiny, they fit into this little tin. These tins are from Paganol. I'll link it below if they have any. Sometimes they run out. But they got all these little tins and made little papers, so it inspired me to paint small. These are my paintings I've been doing right now. I have a couple of Rainier and Teton ones. And then I do have some that are currently on my website. You can go down the description and see the link to my website. These ones are already up there from the last time I put out like 30 paintings, and these are the ones that haven't sold yet, and these ones will be coming. So this is what I like to paint. So the first thing I like to do is add in a tiny little sketch. I don't do all the details. I'll just put in like where the mountain range is, the horizon line, if there's like any trees like in this guy. You know, just kind of put a little line like as to where I want to put the trees. It's always a nice little tiny reference. Now I'll paint a little bit bigger so you can actually see it here. So let's just go ahead. Let's go pretend let's do Mount Rainier. I think a lot of people like Rainier. Hey everybody, it's voiceover Jacqueline here. I thought it would be a little bit easier to speed up this footage so it wouldn't be too long of a video, and I'll just do the nice voiceover of my little tips that I have of why I love these gouache brushes so much. So I'm using my Holbein acrylic gouaches. I really like using these for my little paintings, and I am painting bigger for you all, so you'll see me use this big brush, the big angled brush. Normally when I'm doing the small ones, I would use a smaller brush with that, so you're just going to see me use this bigger one a little bit more than normal. So what I'm just doing here is I'm just going to block in all the colors. Yeah, I'm showing that I would normally use the smaller brushes. So I'm just going to block in this. You can listen to some nice music as I go about this, and I'll pop back on here in just a little bit. Alright guys, I'm back. I'm about to paint some trees here coming in. So for my itty bitty paintings, I might use a small little brush, but for this one I'm going to use just my small angled brush. Regardless of which brush I use, I like to flick it from the bottom down, so I'll show here in a second. If I go from the top down, it might get too gloopy gloppy, you know, right there. So you want it to be nice and thin, and so I like to go from the bottom up. I also like to do my trees on the edges of the painting, so in case I kind of mess up, it's not like the main trees like here right in the middle. So I just like to draw little sticks just straight up, and then to do all the foliage like the branches, I really like the angled brush because I can turn it on its side and it just gives a nice varied little bits of your foliage, of your branches. And I just kind of like dot it in. I just dab it right in. The trees out in the P&W they're not really like Christmas trees, so you can get a little skinnier at the top, but the rest is pretty much the same there. Oh, it looks like I kind of left my kneaded eraser on the back of my paintbrush there for when I need to stick it on the ground so it doesn't move as much for photos. So going into the flowers, I always use as tiny of a brush as I can. And with my tiny paintings, to make it seem like they're closer to you, to add some depth, I press harder on the more foreground ones towards the bottom, and I'll press very lightly in the distance so it just, you know, adds a little bit of depth and like they're farther away. And then here in a moment, I'll be adding the snow for the last final touches. So a few tips for that. One, I would make sure your water is completely clean. I kind of use my dirty water, but you want to have really clean water because you are putting white in there. And again, dab off any excess water so that it won't, you know, drip on the painting at all. Well, there you have it. I hope you liked this video about my favorite gouache brushes and how I go about painting them with that nice little demo that I did there. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see future videos of what I do here on my channel, you can hit that subscribe button if you'd like to. I hope you have a wonderful day, and bye guys.